Well, hello everybody. Hello, Void. In my community tabs, is that what it's called? A community tab? I say hi Void. So I'm deciding I'm going to say hi Void here as well. I hope you're listening, Void. Today will be about books on my Amazon wish list. And you know, this is unscripted. I am all blubbering all over the place today. You know these videos are unscripted because I blubber and I do not do any retakes. I do not even edit my videos. So I hope you're enjoying, you will enjoy this fun ride. So these are books on my Amazon wish list. I actually have my wish list separated out into different lists. Books that are from different different sellers. I have them separated out with different sellers. But these specific books I'm just all over the place with language. I mean, I haven't spoke at all today, and this is the first time I'm speaking out loud. Well, actually, I made a phone call, but that doesn't count. Anyway, so these are all the books on my Amazon wish list, which is for ships Prime. So if I use Prime, I know that I can get these books pretty quickly. So I have all the Prime orderable books in one list, and these are the ones that I want. If I can get them quickly, then I want them quickly. Am I even making sense? Let's move on. I forgot I need to click the screen before I move on. There we go. So, okay. A lot of these books have been on my wish list for years. Some of them have been on there for months. I haven't added any recently, not too recent, because I'm kind of on a book buying ban right now, and that includes a book searching ban, because when I see an interesting looking book, I'm going to add it on my wish list, and then my wish list never gets short. So I'm trying to keep it short, but you know, it's really hard if you love books. So yes, all of these I need, and you get it right. If you love books, you know that you need books. You don't want them, you need them. Okay, so the first one is the Henna Artist. Some of these I'm not going to even read the author name because I know I'm going to butcher it. So I saw this one on Instagram, and I recently learned that it's a series, which I usually try to just buy books that aren't a series, because we can get into a series, and especially now, things are expensive. So I try not to add books to my TBR list or my wish list that I know are going to be a series. I didn't know that this one was going to be a series. So, but now it's on my list, and I've been wanting this one for quite some time, for years at this point, maybe since it came out. That's one. Okay, so this one I found on my own, The Kingdom Theory in the beginning. I'm not exactly sure who. I think this might have been an indie author. I'm not entirely sure, actually, but I found this on Instagram. And I just remember being interested, and I also like this cover. The cover it's black and white, but it has like some colorful starry clouds on the top where the title is, and that's very pretty. And I thought, But because it says The Kingdom Theory in the beginning, I'm afraid that this is a series. But I haven't seen any continuation yet, so maybe it's a standalone. Maybe it will be a series in the future. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe it is already a series and I don't know. But that one's on my list. Okay, so this is a recent edition. The 12 Lives of Samuel Hawley. Hawley. I don't really know. I always have trouble saying the name Samuel. Samuel? Is it Samuel or Samuel? I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, so this says there's a little it's not a blurb, what is it, a little review by Newsweek? It says, a gripping American on-the-run thriller, a brilliant coming-of-age tale, and a touching exploration of father-daughter relationships. So I thought, that sounds interesting. Because I thought, that sounds interesting. Well, I mean, I saw this cover and I thought, it kind of reminds me a little bit of the cover of A Man Called Ove, which I read and loved. And I thought, a story about a father-daughter relationship. I'd like to read about that. Sounds interesting. That's it. Okay. Moving on. Okay, so The Court of the Air by Stephen Hunt. I saw that this was a popular book. And I saw this years ago, that it was a popular book. And many people said it's popular. And I thought I would try it. But the problem is that it's always so expensive on Amazon.co.jp, which is because I live in Japan, I have to order through Amazon.jp. It's always so expensive that I just haven't had the chance to get it any other way. Been trying to see if it would ever be marked down, but I haven't seen it being marked down at all. It's Prime, so I mean I could get it, but it's so expensive. Yeah. So if I look anywhere else, I mean it doesn't have to be this cover. Sometimes I can be specific about covers, but it doesn't have to be this cover. But if I can find it elsewhere, I would definitely get it. Cheaper, that is. Why isn't it moving? Okay, there we go. Okay, so The Last Voyage of Blythe. Blythe, maybe. So I found this on my own, I think, and I was interested in it. I don't know why I was interested in it. I don't remember how I found it, but I want it. And when I look down here, it says Ali Condi is the author of the Matched Trilogy. And I vaguely remember some YouTubers, some booktubers, talking about Matched and how it was kind of weird or something. But I didn't know that. But I thought, The Last Voyage of Blythe sounds interesting. And I like this cover. And it has to be this cover, by the way. Okay, the next one. I found this one on Pinterest. I was just looking for inspiration for cover art. And I also use this book cover as inspiration when I make my own covers sometimes, when this sort of silhouette style with all the different elements from the story, that kind of thing was very popular. Wild and Wicked Things is the one that I'm talking about right here, right now. And I was looking at this cover a lot just for inspiration, and now I kind of want to know what the story is. However, I have some worry about the hype. So this book was heavily hyped, and I've seen some people talk kind of negatively about it, but I'm not sure. Maybe it's just them. Maybe I'll like it. I don't know. But, yeah, so this one is in my wish list. It's been on there for a bit. Yeah, when I say hype worry, I made a video, like not the last video, but the video ago, that called the video is called Books I Will Never Read, and one of the types of books that I will never read is books that are heavily hyped. Because I have fallen victim to the hype once and heavily regretted it. So I'm a little bit worried that this one is going to be sort of like a little bit of a disappointment when I get it. That's why it's in my wish list, but it's like, do I really want it or not? I'm not sure. Maybe when I have extra money. I don't know if I'm ever going to have extra money. That's not going to happen. But, if I feel like I want to get it, or if I see it on cheap or something like that, I might get it. I don't know. But it's on there. Okay, so Nikolas and Company. I know this is a series, and I said I don't get into series, but this is a middle grade book. I think it's a middle grade book, and this just looks to me. So this is a series, and I know it's like it's more than a trilogy. I think it has like 5 or 6 books. I can't remember actually, but I'm interested in getting into this series if it ever becomes a little bit cheaper or something, or maybe I can find a box set somewhere. The problem with living in Japan is that I can't go to a used bookstore and sit finding books. I'm so jealous of people in other English-speaking countries that have used bookstores that sell English books. And I'm like, if I had a used bookstore like that, I would go there all the time and try to get books cheaper, try to get used books and not new books. But I don't really have any choice here. So anyway, moving on, please. Okay, this is a book that I discovered. I just have to find it, and it sounded pretty interesting. It's called The Wolf of Cape Fen. It's a middle grade book, and I don't think it's a series. It's fairly, when I discovered it, it was last year, and it was already fairly new, so it could turn into a series. I don't know. I hope not. I hope it's just a standalone, but anyway, it sounds pretty cool. Pretty cool. Okay, moving on to the Menagerie. Now, this book was been in my. I know it's a series. It even says book 1 in the Menagerie series. So I happened to find this one on my own, and I'm interested. But also, it's super expensive on Amazon.co.jp. I don't know why this one is so expensive. And I can't find like a cheaper version or anything. Everything is just so expensive, or it becomes hardcover. And when it becomes hardcover, the shipping is now expensive. So, I don't know if I'll ever read this book. I'm sort of kind of interested, but not fully interested. If it was selling cheaper, maybe I would be more interested. I don't really know. Okay, the next one that's on my wish list is this book called The Thing About Jellyfish. And it's sort of like a story about this girl who loses her friend, and she says the jellyfish did it or something like that. And it's some kind of philosophical, middle grade, feel good, sad, melancholy type of story that I want to read. And I can get this, but I want this cover. And, well, look at this cover. It's so pretty with this yellow text and this blue-green oceany background with this girl holding up this jellyfish like it's a balloon. It's nice. It's very nice. Okay. The next one is this, I think it's a trilogy. Crown of Feathers Trilogy. It says here, but I don't know if there's any books after this. I found the Crown of Feathers. I just happened to find it, and when I found it at the time, it was on sale, but I wasn't that interested in it at that moment, so I didn't get it, and I highly regret that, because now I want it, but now it's not on sale. So, I might try to find it again, or something, somehow. Yes. It looks pretty cool with this girl riding. It looks like she's riding a phoenix or something. It might be a very standard type of fantasy with a girl who is a chosen one. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm interested in getting into it. Next one is The Power of Dark by Robin Jarvis. Now, I think this is a series. This is a middle grade book, and it's a dark type of story, and I just happened to discover this author, Robin Jarvis, and I thought, I am really interested in his books. Her books, his books, their books. I don't know. Robin is an interesting kind of name because it could be a woman's name, or I think I've seen men or male people who have this name. It's like, what is that other name? There are some names that are like for all kinds of genders. Anyway. Okay, so this is the same author, Robin Jarvis. It's the Deptford Mice trilogy. So this is a trilogy, and I really want this book. And the problem is that this particular book is not available on Amazon. So if I want to get it, I have to wait for them to like order it or something. And if they can't get it, then I don't know. I'll have to find somewhere else this book, but I do want to get this trilogy. I'm hoping that maybe there could be a use. There is actually one used bookstore that's far from where I live. I don't even know exactly where it is because I did send my books, my English books that I didn't want, to them in the mail, and then they paid me. But I could go there. They might have it. They probably don't. So yeah, I'm looking for this book. And when I was putting this slide together, I realized that here in the mouse's red eyes are these cats. Cat faces are in the eyes. And that's something that I didn't notice before. So I thought that was pretty cool. Okay, the next one that is in my list. This is something that I found on my own, and Touch of Iron, and it's a series. I found this when I didn't see anybody talk about this book anywhere, and I thought I found this book and it looked pretty interesting, so I put it in my wish list. And then like months later, I saw that it was being hyped. But since I thought it was being hyped, then it's fine. I think that it will be a good book. So, yeah, so this is, although this is part of a series, I am going to be reading this one someday. Maybe. Okay, so Gideon the Ninth. This is a series. This is very popular. This is hyped. And I was like, do I want to read it? Maybe I'm interested in it, but I'm also kind of afraid of the hype. It's also very expensive. Even when I do go to an English bookstore that's far from where I live, it's still expensive, and it's chunky, so it's heavy to carry if I want to get it there and bring it all the way back here. So do I dare get into this chunky series? It's a lot. It's hyped, so I'm also a little bit worried. I don't know. Have any of you read this book? It's so hyped when it came in. I mean, everyone recognizes this cover anywhere. Anyway, so this is expensive and chunky, so I'm still really debating on it. Do I actually really want this, or is it just because of the hype? I've put it in my wish list, and I've taken it out, and I've put it in and taken it out and put it in again, and right now it's still in there, but I really don't know if I actually want this. Okay, the next one, this is middle grade territory, and this is by Avi. And I read The True Confessions of Charlotte Doyle, and I was looking for another Avi book about ships and stuff because I really liked that other book, and I found this one called Gold Rush Girl, and on Amazon, it's not available. So if I do want to get it from Amazon, I have to wait for them to like order it for me or something like that. I don't really know how that works, but funny thing, I've had The True Confessions of Charlotte Doyle for years and years. Maybe about, it's about 20 years? Maybe about 20 years. And for the longest time, I didn't even realize that Avi had no last name or first name. I don't even know what this name is. And I'm like, one day it just struck me that Avi doesn't have any other name stuck to it. Like, I didn't know you could get by with just one name. I didn't know. I thought authors always had to have like a first name and a last name at least. But here we have Abby with just this one name, and I'm like, well, then maybe I can just be known as Foxwood. I don't even have to be known as Foxwood. I can just anyway. Moving on. Today is not about writing. Today is about books. Okay. All right. So this is the sequel to The Extraordinaires, which is in my TBR right now. So of course it's in my wish list. Flashfire. Moving on. So this is a book that I discovered. It's called The Seer and the Sword. And look at this beautiful reddish, orangey, scarlet cover. I can get this book with a different cover. I can get it. But I want this cover, and this one is not available, but I'm going to find it someday. Mark my word, I am going to find it someday. Okay, so these are some popular fantasy books that I haven't read, and I thought, well, one day I thought, well, I wonder what the popular fantasy books of the world are. So I'm going to look up a list of the popular classic fantasy books. And pick out some that I feel like I would be interested in reading. So the first one is the Book of Three, The Chronicles of Prydain. Now I think this is a series, but I mean, if it's a classic fantasy book, then maybe I should read it. The next one is The Guardians of Ga'Hoole, and this one I actually watched the movie, and I really, really, really liked the movie, and I was so disappointed that they did not. I wish that they had continued it. I don't know what happened. Do you know what happened to The Guardians of Ga'Hoole? Like, they made a movie, and it was so cool and epic with these flying out, with these owls and everything, and I was like, this is so unique and new. I love it. And then they never continued it again. Usually when that happens, I start thinking about, well, did some sort of religious group say that it goes against some kind of God thing? I don't know. But that's what happened with the first time the movie people made the Golden Compass, and also the first time the movie people made the Aragon. Was it Aragon? It's about the dragon. Yeah, those movies, not books, were discontinued for those sorts of religious group sorts of reasons. Possibly Guardians of Ga'Hoole somehow, I don't know how it could have. Okay, and the third one is The Last Unicorn, and this one I actually do know the story, but I thought, I mean, everyone says this is a great book and they love it, so maybe I will read it. And look at this cool modernized cover. It's really fancy and nice. Okay, and the next, what I have here, there was a time when I was looking for horror books, and I want this cover. I can get this book with a different cover, but I want this cover with this red and this picture drawn of this house scratched on, and it's called Hidden Pictures by Jason Recollect. I don't even know if I've said that name right, but it looked like a fun name to say, so I tried it out. And it says every house has a secret. Ooh. And Stephen King said he loved it, so maybe it will be good, right? Okay, now we're going into sci-fi territory. This is Sci-Fi for Newbies recommended. And this first one, it says the only alien on the planet is apparently not a sci-fi book, or it might not be, or be very little sci-fi. But I found this book when I was looking for sci-fi books. So, I don't know if this is a sci-fi book, and even if it's not, I'm still interested. Okay, now the other two, I went on YouTube, booktubers who are specifically specialized in sci-fi books, and they've recommended for newbies, The Six Wakes and House of Suns as books that are easy for newbies to get into. So I thought, okay, then I'll get into them someday. Six Wakes has been kind of expensive on Amazon.jp, actually. House of Suns, I think I can get it in one cover, but I can't get it in this cover, and I want this cover with the orange here. It looks very pretty and nice. I want this one. Okay, going back into middle grade territory here. Doesn't this book look cool? I like how the title, the dragon and the girl, are sort of the title, the letters are sort of like, oh, kind of nicely put together like a puzzle here, and I like how this is stylized. It's pretty cool. I'm not entirely sure what this True North at the bottom here is. Is it the subtitle? Is it the character name? No idea. I don't know if this is a series or not. I might have seen that it was a series. I can't exactly remember, but in any case, I am interested in this book. There's this picture of this girl with long brown hair and wearing a dress, and she's touching a dragon or serpent thing that is hiding. I'm guessing it's a dragon because this is the dragon and the girl story. So, I don't know what's going to happen in this book, but it looks pretty cool. Alright, so we're getting into chunky book territory here. This is the Iron Council by China Miéville, and the Iron Council is something that appeared in Perdido Street Station, and I don't know what that book has done to me, but I cannot stop talking about it or thinking about it. I want to go back into that world and experience it again. So, the Iron Council was, I think, the sequel, or it's like kind of like the sequel to Perdido Street Station. It focuses on the Iron Council, which is these machines and robots that have somehow become sentient, which is pretty cool. And I don't really know what's going to happen, but I want to find out. There's this big giant robot or something, and he wants to be human or something like that. There's lots of weird things going on over there, and I want to know more about it. Okay. Alright, okay. So, these books, let me tell you, I really like The Children of Green No. I don't have all the books, but I really like this sort of slightly creepy mystery type of vibe from these books. I always liked reading them. I don't have, like I said, I don't have all the series, so I don't know the entire story. They go to this old house. I think it's their aunt or their grandparents or something, and then they discover this mirror in which this other family is living inside, or something like that. It's pretty interesting. It's this place. It happens in this place called Green No. Anyway, I discovered this other book called The Witches of Dreadmore Hollow, also a middle grade book, and I saw this book and I thought, it reminds me of this book cover, The Children of Green No, and I thought, this they kind of looks similar. And that's what attracted me to The Witches of Dreadmore Hollow. So, and I don't know, there's some mystery vibe. I don't know. It seems sort of unique and everything, and the boy character in the two covers look very similar. So I thought, I'm gonna give it a try. I don't know if that's a good reason to be interested in a book, but you never know. Okay, this is a similar story. I found this book called The Lost Children of the Far Isles, and it immediately reminded me of The Orphans of the Tide by Struan Murray, and I don't know if I said that name right, but if you look at these two covers, there's like 3 people, 3 kids, and they are looking at some kind of silhouetted castle or something. And in The Lost Children of the Far Isles, there are 3 kids, and there's water, and in The Orphans of the Tide, there's water, and then there's some silhouette of some kind of wreckage, and then Orphans of the Tide, there's like the castle, and so these two covers look pretty similar. I'm also just noticing that The Lost Children of the Isles has a sort of seal silhouette in the sky, and maybe a wolf or a fox silhouette up there, and these two look pretty similar. I'm not saying that they're like one is like a copy of the other, but that's what made me interested in The Lost Children of the Far Isles. I thought, I want to read this. Is that a bad reason for choosing a book to add to your wish list? If in the end these two similar covers, I liked Orphans of the Tide, so I'm not thinking that, oh, maybe I will also like this other book, but I am interested in reading to see what kind of story it is. And I always like a story of three kids trying to get along and figuring out some mystery or combating some problem or going out on an adventure. That's always a nice story to read. So those are the books in my Amazon wish list, my Amazon Prime wish list. They can be ordered right away, even though some of them are so stupidly expensive for me, living all the way over here. So, have you read any of these books? Which ones do you want to read? Also, always looking for some good sci-fi recommendations for people who don't want to read heavy sci-fi. So, I listened to the audiobook of Project Hail Mary, and I'm glad I did, because when I looked at that book, the actual book, the science explanation, that would have gone way over my head, and I wouldn't have understood a single thing. And some people say, oh, they explain it later on, but it was somehow easier for me to get into when it was read to me, when it's the audiobook. And also the narrator was really good with the character voice and everything. It was so nice to hear it, and then I would be able to visualize it. But reading is a little bit different sometimes. So, books that aren't like Project Hail Mary, please. Some more newbie-friendly type of ones would be nice. So, that was a different kind of video, wasn't it? I don't know what kind of other bookish video I can come up with. If you have any suggestions. And also, I want your answers to these questions. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below.